Dear viewers, welcome to this particular podcast. Earlier on, we had launched this platform purposely to always give our views, our opinions, our reactions, and what other people think about one, politics, games, and then sports, education, and then music lovers, production, and quite a number of things. And then today we are trying to follow up the same trend so that we can be able to give you what is on trend and then what is happening in the world over, not only in our own country but also in the rest of the countries, so that we can give our expertise and also listen to our own opinions, so that we can also see what do people think about what we share on this particular platform. This is the writer, and we have a lot to talk about tonight, but particularly we are looking at sports. And while this is sports today, but it is on a very sad note that we are mourning actually tonight. Yes, tonight we are mourning the late. Now the language is changing. You can imagine someone you've been with, or someone you've watched 1,000 times on TV, someone you've seen during quite a number of games. Now you're calling him the late. Tonight we're talking about the late Diogo Jota, a former Liverpool star now, and former Portuguese forward. Tonight we are mourning this gentleman who has been quite incredible, and he has had quite a number of success stories in the recent history. Now, tonight we are making this quite free so that we can be able to create that environment for all of you to discuss with us. While this podcast or this conversation is not entirely meant to judge anyone, I mean, something has happened, we cannot really go silent, though we are not sure if other platforms will equally give it the attention we are giving it, or if other bigger platforms or organizations or televisions will give it the more attention we really need. Because we have quite a number of questions today. We are wondering if there are any particular or strong rules from FIFA that are governing driving, especially driving for stars. I mean, these are global stars. We are wondering if FIFA has a streamlined policy that is governing all these players, and we're also wondering if there are particular guidelines or rules that somehow manage ownership of cars, and maybe the brands of cars, because we have seen quite a number of brands appearing regularly or recurring in car crashes and flames in recent history. We are wondering if FIFA takes note of these reports so that they can easily guide players on the kind of brands they can drive. And more so, we are also wondering if there are any loopholes in licensing. I mean, who should drive? Slightly away from this particular one, some players are 17 or 18 or 19. I mean, who gives them the license to drive? And some engines are far heavier than they can handle. They need a lot of technicalities. And some brands are stylish and sophisticated that they cannot easily be, managed by some people or a certain group of people, especially in terms of excitement, in terms of lifestyle. So we are wondering if every engine can easily be managed or driven by any young player without necessarily mentioning any particular names. Everyone knows that we have rising stars in soccer clubs like Barcelona or Real Madrid or Manchester United, stars that are a bit younger, not younger. Young may not really sound so polite, but I mean, their age is not so much advanced that they are equipped with a lot of knowledge about lifestyle and a lot of things. So we are wondering if FIFA has all those guidelines so that we can find a more streamlined and proper direction. While these things don't happen quite often, I mean, crashes for players don't happen quite often, but the moment it happens, it breaks our hearts. This is someone who is contributing to global economy, someone who has a family, someone who has loved ones, someone who has millions of followers, someone who has thousands of people that is inspiring out there, and is just perishing in a very terrible tragedy in the land of Spain. It is quite painful, but regardless, we shall try to compose ourselves, we shall try to comfort one another so that we can carry on this debate. So that maybe somehow one or two words that are covered in this video can easily be used in future to change a few policies. I mean, not necessarily this particular video, but also the conversations that come deep down in the comment section. For that particular note, in case you feel anything, an opinion, any facts that you want to share with us, please we have the comment section down there. And don't forget to subscribe so that you and then activate that notification so that you never miss other subsequent updates that we share on this platform. Now, this video is not necessarily meant to attack any brand. This video is not necessarily meant to attack any person. This video is not meant for any kind of blame game. We are trying to share knowledge. We have seen quite a number of brands that somehow are familiar and so much common in flames. You know, it crashes, and out of the friction, out of the heat, out of the leaks, and the short circuits, especially that happen in the modern cars, it blows into flames. We have quite a number of questions. Somehow, slightly away from this, in the recent India air crash, we saw Boeing slightly taking responsible of anything that could come out of the reports or anything that has been in this crash. We saw Boeing giving a statement that for whatever happened to these people, we shall be able to follow up, and in any case there is anything that we are responsible for, we shall come and clear it up. We are not sure if the same thing would happen to car brands, because this time around this is Lamborghini that is taking a life of a superstar, someone we have been celebrating, someone who led, I mean, we shall talk about that later, but this gentleman led this team to a trophy. I mean, we wonder if these brands take into consideration the pain, the grief, and the mourning that we, the fans, and the families have. So that maybe they can come broadly and say, I think we are responsible for the tire rollout, or we are responsible for the wheel separation. Maybe our material is not strong enough, or maybe someone comes, I mean, the owner of the brand says, I think we are responsible. Our engine is somehow particularly sophisticated, so we are so much aware that our brands can easily catch fire, or they can easily get into flames, especially when they are inflicted to a lot of friction. I mean, to me, as an opinion, I would feel Lamborghini would come out and say, I think our brand somehow is easily susceptible to blowing into fire, especially when it is into such and such a condition. Or maybe the blowing out of the wheel, you know. I mean, someone should, this is not more of blame game, but we are trying to make sure we are finding the right direction. So somehow these questions are hard to answer. Some of these questions will kind of be rhetoric, but we have quite a number of brands from Lamborghini that have been listed in the top 10 possible brands that can easily get into fire when they are exposed to certain conditions. Now, this is a very painful moment. A little bit of the history. You know, when someone is gone, we still have to celebrate them. This is someone who had just won the UEFA Nations League title recently with Portugal. I mean, recently Ronaldo made a comment. He said, "Oh, this doesn't really make sense." A lot of people are commenting. Someone says, and then another colleague was saying, "People come and go, yeah, but not like this." I think that was Mohamed Salah. So people are mourning, people are crying. I mean, this is someone who had just won a national title for his people back home. And more so, this is someone who had just won another title with Liverpool, uh, cruising all through up to the first position, and they eventually won the English Premier League title. And all of a sudden, someone is no more. Life can be a short trip, but surely sometimes the end of these trips becomes too painful. You sleep, and then all of a sudden you wake up in the morning that someone is gone, and you say, but this is someone I was with a few moments ago. So we are celebrating his success with Portugal, and then his success with Liverpool. And this is a gentleman who had just married. They had just wed with his wife, and they have 3 kids. This has been a very beautiful, amazing family. And somehow I have something in common with Diogo Jota. He was born in 1996, just like me. I mean, this is an age mate. So I mean, someone passes away, but you find that at least every person has something in common with these people. That's why at the end of the day, we come up to speak about this, because they are gone. They are no more. This is the only chance we have to speak about them. And then somehow, uh, maybe you've been a Liverpool supporter, or maybe you've not been a Liverpool supporter. I've seen Chelsea players, I've seen Manchester City players mourning this guy. I've seen fans from across all arenas mourning Diogo Jota. So sometimes something happens, but eventually it becomes a global phenomenon. Now, quite a number of questions again. Do you really think his family can somehow be compensated for anything? Apparently, we don't have a huge report that is talking about what next. And up to now, we have not received any report from the investigation. And up to now, we don't know so much detail about the contracts of the contract or the contract details of the late Diogo Jota. But what I'm sure about is that Liverpool is always a platform of you will never walk alone. And so his family will not walk alone in this moment, trying moment actually. It's not just a moment, it's a tragic, trying moment. That we feel probably from some sources that we have not really relied on so much, we have information that some kind of compensation can be approved, but we really don't know how much. And we don't know if this will cover, I mean, how long the contract has been running for Diogo Jota, and we don't know if there is any other special provision in this contract. But whatever the case, I mean, it may sound a little bit opinionative, but I'm very sure Liverpool shall stand along with the family of the late Diogo Jota. Now, away from that, what really happens um, um, when a sophisticated or modern car, like from the class of Lamborghini, Ferrari, BMW, I mean Chevrolet, a lot more brands that you people drive and know about. What really happens when such a modern, stylish car crashes? We have seen quite a number of terrific incidents, even away from football. Up to now, we are still crying of the movie star Paul Walker, who crashed quite a number of years ago. I mean, something. I mean, it was also kind of a stylish modern car, and it rises into flames. Recently, in Uganda, also in sport, we received the case of the late Rajiv Ruparelia, who passed away in his GTR. Somehow, a lot of similar incidences are happening in football, and also away from football, in motor rallying. And also, I think Antonio of West Ham is also undergoing rehabilitation after crashing his Ferrari. So we are wondering what exactly happens when a modern car crashes. I mean, a modern car that is stylish like the class I've given above, what really happens? Why does it rise into flames? And because we have seen quite a number of other tragic accidents happening with soft machines like Premier, or I mean, somehow like here in Uganda we have some other soft engines, maybe Wish or drone kind of. We have not seen them blow into flames. I mean, we have seen buses crash. We have had several cases of the Link bus and other buses. We have seen buses like YY flopping around, but we rarely see these vehicles getting into flames. Why in particular are we looking at these modern cars into flames? One, the gasoline or the gas or the kind of fuel these machines use is highly super refined. Actually, there are even some speculations that we received recently that possibly the recent GTR of Rajiv was sharing fuel with some jets and other passenger planes. That oil is extremely, that fuel, sorry, is extremely flammable. So when you expose it to any surface that is heating or any surface that is frictional, or even the engine, of course the engine must kind of burn out in there. The moment this oil leaks out to a burning engine, it creates the flames. Sometimes even the brake lines, when the brake lines are old, they're not repaired, they can easily create that kind of friction that can easily escalate into a flame. And of course, even the exhaust of the car, that line of the exhaust. But of course, the primary cause at this particular moment is when there happens a leakage. Okay, that leak can easily transfer the oil to those now metals that are heating the exhaust, and then it creates that kind of flame that is overwhelming. And then furthermore, these are cars that use a lot of electricity. They generate a lot of electricity. Electrical engineers will confirm to this that if there is any naked wire, maybe the insulator can burn out because of the heat, and then somehow it joins some other unnecessary wires in the engine. It can also create that kind of flaming. So there are quite a number of reasons. And then in this case, particularly of Diogo Jota, we have two instances whereby we have a wheel rollout. But the rollout of the wheel, like the tire pulls off its intended position. But also in the middle of this, whoever was driving at that particular moment is overtaking. So of course, like any other person, I mean, you're overtaking, you want to get off the lane that is not yours. So somehow you will escalate or increase the pace at which you are driving. So actually it becomes the third factor. That one, there is a wheel separation, and two, someone is overtaking. Then three, there is a fire when this car, Lamborghini Evo Spider crashes. There is that fire. So we are wondering if maybe there was no maintenance in the first place. We are also wondering if it was Diogo who was driving, or the brother. And then somehow it is hard to connect. That's why sometimes we are pushing this back to you. And then he's trying to overtake so that he can go back to his other wing. And then eventually along the way, the tire is off and the car burns into flames. I mean, when you look at this scene, it is shocking, and really shocking enough. It is into ashes. These are metals or plastics, but they are all into ashes. There are just a few things, a few parts that you can easily collect, and otherwise it was really, really, really tragic. So somehow we are we are looking at all those situations. We don't have anyone to blame yet, but we are trying to gather up everything so that we can come up with something, something that is conclusive. So we're wondering if there was no maintenance. We're wondering if Lamborghini is aware that their engines can easily blow into flames. We're also wondering if maybe somehow they were overspeeding. A lot of questions. But most importantly, above all, is FIFA aware that there are some brands that are easily flammable? Are clubs controlling the lifestyle and the life of the players? Are clubs trying to make sure these players, I mean, important, extraordinary, talented people, are they trying to make sure that their license is appropriate? Are they trying to make sure that there is a driver who can? I've been sharing on my WhatsApp this morning. We have been wondering if, I mean, can clubs hire drivers for players? Do they really care about the life of the players? This is someone who is earning up to 250 US dollars every month and up to about 3 million USD every year. This person is contributing and is entertaining about 60,000 people in a stadium and billions of people watching on the TV. Why don't they have people taking care of them, especially we're talking about driving in particular? That is the most important question that I'm forwarding today. Why are clubs not bothered about the stressful moments? You have Club World Cup qualifiers, you have AFCON, you have Premier League, you have FA, you have Carabao, you have Conference. At least along the way, someone is attending, a particular player is attending to fixtures across 3 or 4 tournaments. How on earth can someone fail to be stressed by such obligations? They have family, they are going through divorce moments or separation moments, and then you also find, I mean, it is fine, but come in as a regulator and say, I think there is something we need to do. When the players are in intensive moments, they are in trying moments, they need a driver, they need someone to guide them, they need someone by their side, so that, because something can happen along the way, you're driving and your mind switches to something else and then you crash. Thank you so much, our dear viewers. This was it was amazing being with you up to the end of this video. We have a lot coming our way and we shall be sharing. Please kindly don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification so that in any case we share any other video, you can easily find that notification. Thank you so much. This is The Writer.